Okay, good morning once again, and good to see you all. Uh, it's been a while. Yeah, I hope you all are doing well. All good. Yeah. Okay. So we'll start off with. So we've finished children ministry as one of the segments. So this is a very short course on say youth ministry. It's almost like just two master classes. So we will most likely be done next week. So yeah, it's literally like it's an introduction to youth ministry. So it's not a detailed thing about that we can dive into, right? Um, yes, that's why I almost I put the assignment as well, the final assignment. It's a book report. So everybody got to see that? Yeah. Okay. It's again it for those on e-learning. It will be very different. You know, okay. There you go. For e-learning students, it's more easy, I think. I think, but yeah, it's a simple book report. If you have any questions regarding that, it's something that you've already done. I've asked you all to do before, so it's nothing different. Okay. All right, let's get started with youth ministry. Once again, I want to emphasize that this course is only an introduction to what youth ministry is, just to give us a brief understanding of what youth ministry is all about, right? And like I mentioned, we will be most likely done next week. So all we need is just 4 hours. Okay. All right. Simple question. Let's start off. Uh, why is youth ministry important? Or actually, let me start off with the simple question again. Who are the youth? According to you, how would you define who the youth are? Who are young? Okay, yeah. Youth are young. Really? What happened to age is just a number? I'm still 18, So that old Bon Jovi song, 18 till I die. Okay, sorry, Chira, you were saying? Can you use the mic, please? So,
You are the pillar of the church.
youth are the pillar of the church. Wow, you can close the course right now. Okay. All right. As always, please feel free to put your answers, those online. Please feel free to add your answers on the chat section or raise your hand so you can unmute and share. Okay. Yeah, who are the youth? It's very important that we understand who the youth are. Yeah, go ahead, Anand. Whatever you want to say about the youth. If you want to say that it's about the age, how you would define it as, go ahead.
Youth are the certain category in the church that
Mhm.
we have to put the most care.
The what?
Youth are the category, such category that we have to, as a church, we have to take care of them and we have to nurture them.
Okay, we have to take care of them. Okay, but you haven't said who they are.
Yeah.
You've said what we have to do for them,
Yeah.
which is great. Thank you. But who are the youth? Okay, so Chaya says anyone from the age of 16 to 30. Yeah, that's quite a spectrum there, Chaya, but thank you. Yeah. Anything else, Francis? Youth. Uh, I have missed you, Francis. Youth are the youth. They are tomorrow's leaders. Yeah, there was a time I thought about it. where I was told I was the tomorrow's leader. So okay, so we say, we're going to talk about youth ministry, and we are going to say answer this question: why is youth ministry important? But it should always begin with this very fundamental question. I like the basics. I like fundamentals, foundations. Who are they? Because in chapter 3 we'll talk about identifying your audience, right, very specifically. But we need to start, like for example, if you say children's ministry, we know children, right? And then we give them an age bracket, like we try to understand a demography. It's the same thing with the youth. Okay, so there are a few definitions. So few people, different people around the world, who've defined who the youth are. Okay, so it's in the notes. It says the United Nations, for statistical purposes, defines youth as those persons between the ages of 15 and 24. So Chaya, there was a competition for you. Okay, so Chaya also says youth is considered not just an age, but a state of mind and attitude. Yeah. So again, coming back to this point, like different countries or nations or different group of people define youth differently. But there's an average, within the age. So the youth here in India, that, as we rightly said, so the youth ministry here, whom we consider at least at APC, between the ages of 18 and 33, I think, 18 and 33. Whereas in the West, the youth are considered to be in their teenagers, like between 14 and 18 or 19. That's considered as the youth ministry. So you will be, if you are leading a youth ministry in the West, like say US or anything, that would be the age group. Below that is teens, and after that becomes young adults. So here, young adults starts from age 33 or late 20s, so to speak. Are you with me? Okay, so let's continue looking at some more of the definition. So United Nations defines youth as 15 and 24, the bracket. The United Nations General Assembly defines youth as persons between the ages 15 and 24. Again, it's the same thing. World Bank uses this term with a reference to people between 15 and 25. So you see very close there. And Commonwealth Youth Program between 15 and 29. Most of the bishops' conferences refer to youth as youngsters starting from 18 to the age of 30 and 35. So in the first few definitions, we see that how youth are defined as, it's by their age, mostly. Interesting, right? That's how it was until very recently. Once we started addressing the millennial generation, the definition slowly began to change. It went from age to what they do, right? So until the we started speaking about Gen Y and Gen Z. Have you heard of it? Right? So until these terms came into the picture, before that, it was just, okay, the age. They are 15 to 24, 18 to 30. And then once this Gen Z and Gen Alpha now came into the conversation, it's about what they do. It's not about their age brackets anymore. And so in the next para, you would see that the world of youth today are defined as multitasking, 36 hours a day. It seems like the way they work and the things that they're engaged with, it seems like they have extra 10 hours or so in their day. Like that's how engaged they are. Right? Like, I mean, I was playing marbles when I was 18, playing, but I'm not ashamed to say that, and then free time, I had free time, believe it or not, as a young person. But very rarely you would see a young person in this day and age say that they are free, that they are always engaged in something, right? Most of them are entrepreneurs at the age of 21. I was like, what do you do? I have my own business. How old are you? Like, I'm 21. I have this vision, what? Like, what? You know, and there's a flashback of what I used to do when I was 21. Just goes before my eyes. Like, very embarrassing. Wow, what have I done with my life? Kind of thing. If they say, I'm going to take a year's break. I'm going to find myself. And have you, I'm not sure if you've heard this conversation, but having the chance of leading young people like for 4 years, like they would share these things with me. Like, Pastor, I'm going to take a year's break. I'm going to find myself, travel, take a vacation, get some inspiration, kind of a thing. If I went and told my dad that I want to take a break, I want to go find myself, it's like, here, I found you. No, go, you know, you want to find yourself. What kind of a question is that? What kind of, they're like, yeah, here you are. I found you. So now get back to work, It seems like a lot of us can relate to that, but okay. So the world of youth is now, besides their age, are defined as multitasking. They can do 100 things at the same time. It's amazing, right? 36 hours a day, 5-minute attention span. That's the cost, the price. From now YouTube Reels, it's become YouTube Shorts now, which is what, 3 minutes or 1 minute? I don't know. Okay, and they say that the best YouTube short video are 30 seconds. Like, and that's the attention span now. It's even reduced from 5 minutes now. So if you have a good 30-second YouTube short video, like, you can attract a certain demographic. Okay, so there are so many such expressions that describe the youth of today. In diverse avenues, the contemporary world attributes great significance to youth, their life, and their contributions to society. In our technology-driven world, children or youth mostly have the final say where problem solving, gadget buying, and decision making are concerned. Youth and their trends are of great significance to the society. Okay, just pay attention to the line. Youth and their trends, okay, are of great significance to the society. Why? To the business sector, to the religion and politics, major industries observe youth trends to decide on what to manufacture. Isn't that amazing? Like, major companies, they look at what the youth are doing and what the trend is like, and what are they following, what are they wearing, what is their language. Riz is the word that the Gen Alpha uses for what we used to use as cool. You know what Riz is? It's a short form for charisma. It's like, you're too Riz right now. So I kind of get a feeling that how we used to look when we say cool. Oh Lord. So yeah, major industries observe youth trends to decide on what to manufacture, while marketing organizations constantly evolve new styles in youth marketing. So consequently, research on youth trends and perspectives has assumed great significance of today. All right, so from age, we've come to see how the youth are defined with what they do. Okay, and now let's look at one of the leaders, what he had to say of the potential of the youth in context of India. Okay, you have the notes, Nicole? You have the PDF? Okay, all right. Okay, so just so we are on the same page, okay? So Dr. G.C. Manna, Director General of CSO, which is Central Statistics Office of Indian government, he said this is how we define youth as. He's saying youth is the most valuable segment of the population. Human resource potential of individuals not only gain maximum, but also reaches its peak during period. Okay. Youth in reality represent the present of our country. Young ones, when nourished properly, can grow like a huge redwood tree, but if not controlled or neglected, can erupt like a volcano. No country can afford to ignore its youth. India is a youth nation in the sense that that share of its youth in total population according to 2011 stands at 34.8. Okay, so let's pause there for a moment. Okay, so this was the census according to 2011, and by 2018, that number had doubled. And so right now in the world, India is the youngest country. Isn't that's amazing? India is the youngest country. That means it has the highest number of youth. And there are so many countries that are struggling, are finding themselves in a lot of challenge because they, like, most of their population are middle-aged or aged. And so there is no next generation to take over. Like, they are finding people, like, who do I pass the baton to? And they are scared. But to know that India is the youngest nation, it's amazing. And then he says that, I love what he said here. He says, like, in reality, like, young ones, when nourished properly, what does nourishment mean? So, sorry, take care of. Yeah. So when we say to babies that, hey, they look malnourished, that means they have not been feeding properly, they're not eating well, they don't have enough nourishment, so they are very weak, very fragile, etc. So we take care of the babies, right? In a way, in a sense that we nourish them like a parent nourishes a child. So here he's saying that if a youth is not nourished properly, or let's put biblical terms, if they are not guided properly, if they are not stewarded properly, if they are not led properly, if they are not shepherded properly, they will erupt like a volcano one day. But if they are guided well, they will grow like a redwood tree. So redwoods, I mean, it's a context referring to a trees in California. Okay, so you can Google image. So there's, in California, I think in the north part of California, there's this huge forests called as the redwood forests. Those trees are huge and hundreds of years old. Like, some trees are so huge, they made a tunnel where cars can actually pass through those trees. And they are magnificent, okay? Like, they're majestic, to say the least. And he's comparing that the youth, if they are nourished well, they can grow up to be something like a redwood tree. But if they are not nourished or taken care of properly, they can erupt like a volcano. They can bring about destruction, disaster. That's what a volcano is, isn't it? Right? It can just consume everything on its path. They can lose its way. Are you with me? Okay. So it's very easy for us, for the older generation, to complain about the younger generation. Because, I mean, they're only a reflection of what they have seen. Right? Like, for example, a child at home will only grow up to become like what they've been exposed to. Right? When a baby is born, no child is born evil or as a bad person or anything. You get what I'm saying, right? It's about what they are exposed to, what they are seeing. That's why they are amazing imitators. Like, a child would just imitate exactly everything what an adult would do. Right? I mean, I would do 99 good things. My son would ignore all of that. I would do one bad thing, one wrong thing. He will catch all of that. I mean, the pressure is real. Are you with me? Okay. I want us to go to Numbers chapter 14, verse 31. I just want to, share with you an inspiration that drew me to kind of build on this course or this masterclass. Okay, Numbers chapter 14, verse 31. Can someone read it, please?
But your little ones, whom you said would be victims, I will bring in, and they shall know the land which you have despised.
Okay, thank you. So please read the whole chapter for context. God is talking about the whole generation. But here he says, but your little ones who you said would become prey. So let's pause there and look at that. in this day and age, we've become too quick. We just saw that how defining youth went from defining them by their age to what they do. And now to what they do has become who they are. Right? Oh, they are millennials. They are multitasking people. They are just not focused at all, but they're just doing everything else all at once. We've given them so many tags. Right? We've given them so many tags. Like, and so it says, whom you said would become a prey, God says, I will bring in, and they shall know the land that you have rejected. So he's saying that the world may define the young generation as however they want to, that they are useless, maybe they're good for nothing, they are all of these things. They are attracted to their phones, very social driven, all of that. They may be facts, but God is saying that I will not give up on them. I will bring them in. So that's the other word for baptism or fellowship, is I will bring them in. So you can say, well, whatever you want to say about the young generation. I have a heart for them. I will not give up on them. I will bring them in. The promise that you've rejected, I will give it to them. Isn't that wonderful? The best part is the young generation did not have to do anything to get into the promised land. They just have to step into the promised land. Are you following? Yeah? Okay. So that verse was a huge inspiration for me to develop on this content and just constantly encourage me to lead the young people during the time when I was the youth pastor. Okay, let's continue. And I'd like to go, encourage you to go through some of the things that's mentioned in the notes. So now we've spoken about who are the youth, how the world defines youth from age to what they do and who they are. We've seen an Indian leader as to how he defines and looks at the youth as. Now let's look at another next simple question as to why we need youth ministry in church. So we know that they are important now. Okay, I think we've established that. They're very important. The youth are important. They have to be nourished. They have to be well taken care of. So why then do we need youth ministry? What do you think? Go ahead. Yep. Okay. Anyone online? Why do we need youth ministry?
To nurture them to grow like the redwood.
Huh. Yes, Jachin. Please go ahead.
So to teach them God's word and our own experiences as well, because for only then they will know that the power of God, or we have also crossed the youth stage. So when we tell about some experiences that God has helped us, and we were also in that same place of them, but most of them don't relate to us because it's like the generation is so different, and even the words, as you said, it's something like new, and to catch up with my nieces, nephews, and all, it's so difficult. But when we share something what God did for us when we were in school or when we were in college, then that actually helps them to connect, or gives us a bridge, at least a bridge for us to say something. They won't listen for more time, but it's good that we do our attempt trusting in God.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, the struggle is real. Yes. And anybody
Yes,
else?
Pastor. It's
Yes.
like Praise also mentioned one thing, like they are the future leaders. So if we'll not have the youth ministry, we can't guide them, right? So youth ministry is to lead them in the right path. So it's very important because they are the church future. If we talk about church, so they are the futures. And like one more thing I told, like they are the pillars. You see the churches, which church they don't have youths, they're like not growing. That God is there, we know, but youths are the one of the major person in the church also. So that's why I guess like youth.
Right. Okay. Thank you. uh, yeah, I'm sure we will all have like the right answers. Nina also shares to tap all that energy, channelize it in the right direction, so that they live to their full potential, God-given full potential. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Nina. Yes. Um, yeah. I mean, they are the next generation. They are the future leaders, and all of that, right? So again, we're all leaders now. You will all go back home to lead your own ministry and all of that, maybe even plant churches or whatnot, right? And I think in every step of the way, asking why in quotes is very important. So when you plant a church, okay, let's have youth ministry. Ask yourself, why do you want to plant youth ministry? Is it because you have a church now? It's like, okay, so in church, the usual ministries, children ministry, youth ministry, what else? Is it, do you want to do that because you have started a church now, or because you have a burden for that and you fully understood who they are? Right? So it's very important that you answer that question. A couple of weeks ago, I think we studied upon the Jewish education system. I kind of briefly shared about it, right? So there's 3 levels in the Jewish education system. That's one is the Bet Sefer, Bet Talmud, and Bet Midrash. Okay, so Bet Sefer, Bet means house. So Bet Sefer means a house of the book. So they will be enrolled into this school at the age of 5 or so, 5 to the age of 12. That's the first level. Okay, Bet Sefer. And so there, in this, they would memorize the Torah. That's the first 5 books, the laws, as it's called. They would memorize it. 5 to 12, Bet Sefer. And after that, the second level, what we can call it as, say, high school, is called as the Bet Talmud. Talmud is another word for disciple. Talmudim is a disciple. So Bet Talmud is called as the house of, oh man, I forget, house of something. Okay. And so from the best of the best from Bet Sefer, the first level, will be enrolled into Bet Talmud. Very little few people go into Bet Talmud. And most of them, if they are not going into the second level, they will go back into their family trade, be it fishing or whatever it is. Right? So boys will go back into their family trade. Girls, by the age of 14 or 15, they would be married off. Okay? But the best of the best would go into the second level. Here, they will learn about the entire Old Testament. And they would, and it's in this level, where, like, they will also learn to memorize the Tanakh, all of Old Testament. And they will learn a lot of techniques like answering a question with a question, which Jesus used to do. It's here is what how they will learn. Right? And they are still in their teenage years, like 13, let's say maybe 14 or 13 to 17 or so. Yeah, so they would go to synagogues, basically. The synagogues were their school, was their school. So every village, like for example, let's take Bethsaida, which had like a couple of weeks ago, I shared a map. So there was an evangelical triangle in the north of Galilee called, as one town called Bethsaida, Chorazin, and Capernaum. So Capernaum was a town. These are all 3 little towns of Galilee. A very religious kind of a triangle there, where a lot of devoted Jews used to live there. And each of these towns, very small towns, like Chorazin would have a maximum of 2,000 people. Bethsaida was smaller, about maximum of 800 people. It was mainly made up of, say, maximum of 10 families. That's all. And it was a fishing town. Okay. So I'm just going to giving another foundation of, I want you to pay attention to this. So this is the second level, right? The best of the best would go from level 1 to level 2. And then after that, while they are still in their teenage years, okay, they would choose again that if they want to go into the family trade, Or it is also at this level, they would say, I want to become a rabbi, so I want to become a disciple of a rabbi. And so after the second level, they will go and apply to a rabbi and say, can I become your disciple? Can I be your disciple? And so the third level is called as Beth Midrash. Okay, so they would say, and once they've applied, Anand says, okay, I want to be your disciple, Rabbi Roshi. Okay, and then I would see how he's done in his level 1, how he's been in his level 2, and then I would ask him a series of questions. If I as a rabbi find him worthy, that okay, he is worthy enough to be my disciple, then I will take. So because Beth Midrash is simply a place, level that says, I want to become like the rabbi. That's all. I want to become like the rabbi. There was this old saying that says, in the dust of the rabbi, in those day and age, in the Jewish culture, in the dust of the rabbi, simply to say that a disciple would walk in so close proximity to the rabbi that the dust coming off the rabbi's sandals would be over them. Like it's a metaphoric to say that I'm walking in such close proximity. But becoming a disciple was not easy. A rabbi would think, okay, if you're not worthy, you can't become. You see the point here, the pattern here is a disciple would go and say, I want to follow you. But what did Jesus do? He went to a fishing town, to the lowliest of lowlies. I'm pretty sure that his disciples, 5 of them, Peter, James, John, Andrew, and someone else, Philip, I think 5 of them were from Bethsaida. And so when Jesus flips everything and he goes to these people and say, come follow me. The kind of people that, let's say, the society had said, I mean, even they themselves thought, okay, I can't make it. I can't go past Beth Sefer. I don't have it in me. I'm not a valedictorian of my class. I can't afford, and I don't have the brains to continue. I don't think I'm not good enough to become a disciple. Jesus goes to people like that and he says, okay, I choose you. So today, like, we don't have the luxury to say that we have only 2 options, that I want to be a disciple or I don't want to be a disciple. But you cannot say I can't be a disciple, because Jesus has said, I have chosen you. You have not chosen me. But he trusts in me more than I trust myself. Are you with me? And so this was, why am I saying all of this is a young mind. Again, this is Jesus chose, and there's a very good argument that you can make that, considering you're seeing the pattern of the Jewish education system, that Jesus' disciples most likely were teenagers. And I mean, there's enough evidence that we can make a case about that. There's a different argument. But just think about it, that Jesus would choose a bunch of young people to change the world. He trusted his gospel, his good news, with a bunch of young people to change the world. And they did. Right? Yes, even the goats are agreeing. Right? Are you with me? And so we can't take them for granted. When you look at some, say, terrorist organizations, terrorist groups across the world, why do they get hold of young people, little children, and brainwash them into an ideology? Why? Because their minds are very easy to be molded. Yes or no? Right? It's very hard to mold a mind or a ways of an older person, because they are used to living a certain way. Right? It's like undoing a knot. It's very hard to unlearn. Yes or no? Right? In music, we use this thing called practice makes. No. Practice makes permanent. So if you're practicing wrong things will become the permanent thing. Are you with me? And so it becomes very hard as a teacher to unlearn or undo the knot. And so it makes perfect sense why Jesus chose young people, when their mind can be molded, their hearts can be molded and transformed. So if the devil knows that, hey, we got to get them young, how much more should we? We have to get them young, right? If we are going to pass on the baton and pass on the message of the gospel and whatnot, we have to get them young. Are you with me? Okay. So let's some of the scriptures, what the Bible has to say. Um, it says, Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days come and the years draw near, to which you will say, I have no pleasure in them. I put this verse because I remember my grandmother. Every time she would use that scripture, she would say that to me in Tamil. உன் வாலிப வயசிலே உன் something சிருஷ்டிகரே நினை. So she would say, so remember your Creator in the days of your youth. And so it's always stayed with me. Like, remember who He is in your youthful days, right? Psalm 119 verse 9, how can a young man keep his way pure? By guarding it according to your word. Young man, right? Ezekiel 16:60, yet I will remember my covenant with you in the days of your youth, and I will establish for you an everlasting covenant. Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. Okay, so youth ministry is important not because it's a ministry that you can have in a church. It has the most impact. I mean, children ministry with youth ministry. That's why they're kind of tied together in this course. I like, I like this nice transition between children's ministry and youth ministry. Yeah, youth ministry can be very, very powerful. Okay, so what are the role of youth in today's church? Teaching young people in church to grow in their relationship with the Lord prepares them to serve Christ in all they do. As a result, this nurtures the congregation and allows the church to flourish. So it's interesting to see that having impact on the young people will have an effect on the whole church. Okay, so this is seen many times in the Bible, as God often used young people to do great things. For example, Timothy, we see that he was a young, again, when the Bible says a youth or young, it's usually in their teenage years. Okay, so don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech and conduct and love, in faith and in purity. So that's the role of youth in today's church. That should be the role, is that they should not be looked down upon. They should not be assigned labels like they are this, they are that. No, they have to be looked at as an asset. Like, we have young people, we are a rich church, right? Most often, and the negative part of how the church or the older generation looks at the young people is, oh man, they don't listen to anything. They are too hyper. These labels are given to young people, isn't it? Like they're, like they're into this, they're into that, whatnot. But that's another thing we need to pray for, is the unity between two generations. If you remember the battle between Israelites and the Amalekites, when Joshua was fighting the Amalekites, right? And we had Moses up there praying for them. You remember that story, right? Now, every time Joshua was losing, the imagery or the metaphoric imagery here is the Moses was representing the father's generation, Joshua the younger generation, the next in line, so to speak. But every time when Joshua was losing, reinforcements were sent to whom? To Moses. It doesn't make sense. If an army is losing, you would send reinforcements like to the army, the one who's fighting. Send more weapons, send more people to the army that's fighting. But here, we see that when the younger generation was fighting and losing the battle, reinforcements were sent to the older generation. And so we need the prayers of the older generation for young people to win their battles, for young people to win their victories. We need our father's generation. to stand with us, to uphold us in prayer. And so we need to pray for the unity among two generations. It's very easy for us, for the older generation, to label them and say, I give up on them. Are you following? Okay. I had asked some of my youth leaders as to why they thought youth ministry was important, and they've answered a few. I didn't want to put everything. It says, youth ministry helps in equipping future leaders with sound, practical, biblical training. It encourages them to stay firm on course for Christ and empower them with everything that they need to carry the gospel out in the world. Right? The famous E's: equip, encourage, empower. Right? Equip, encourage, empower. Right? And this another person said, youth ministry helps present biblical truth to young people in a relatable manner while addressing real issues that they face on daily basis, very different from those that of adults and children face. It is in these years that they form core beliefs. It also helps them form a community of young believers who can inspire and encourage one another. Another one said, setting the stone to build the next generation of Jesus followers. Young generation in church needs to know the right path midst of all questions from peers. And finally, to make Christ relevant and the gospel meaningful to youngsters so that they can have relationship with God in their own way in context of their world. Right? The youth of this day and age are very different from my days, how I was. Like when my parents said, you have to believe Jesus is God, I was like, okay, Jesus is God. You know, I didn't think anything else. But you say that same thing to a younger generation youth now, Jesus is God, okay, all right, well, where's the evidence? Why should I believe that he is God? Are you following? So are you equipped enough to answer such questions? The other day, a friend's son asked, he's about 6 years old, he's asked, was Jesus a Christian? I mean, just look at that young little mind. I was fascinated by that question. I mean, just leave the answer aside, right? But just the way they are thinking. A 6-year-old. I mean, we see that 6-year-old, 5-year-olds were sent to school in Jewish education system. And by the time they were 10 or 11, they had like 40-50% of the Bible memorized. Are you with me? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's pause here, and we'll continue the next hour of the next chapter. Okay, so what we've covered in this session is very simple, very fundamental. That who are the youth? We've seen from them going from defined as with their age to what they do and to who they are. What they do is now labeled with who they are, right? We identify them with that. And we've seen a couple of world leaders, what they think and what they have to say about youth in general, that India is the youngest nation across the world, and the role of youth in today's church and why we need to have youth ministry. Okay, so that's what we've covered in this session. We'll come back and we'll continue with where we left off. Okay, so have a nice break. I'll see you next hour.